Fine, good afternoon to you all students. Hi students, how are you? I hope you all are fine. Students, so have you all revised till last week portions? So have you all studied or not? So please study daily portion, okay? So last class we have marked the question answers for the chapter 11. So what are the portions they asked you to study? 1 mark question, 2 mark question as well as 3 mark question. Isn't it? So have you all studied? Studied or not? So please study daily portions, okay? So welcome to our today's online class. Warm greetings to you all students. So today we are going to study about a new chapter 12 called Structured Query Language. Okay, so what's the title of our chapter? Structured Query Language. Okay, so chapter 11 and 12 are interrelated to one another. Okay, so this chapter is entirely related to chapter 11. Okay, so why means in chapter 11 what are the things you have studied? You have studied about what do you mean by database, how you need to create database, then types of data model, relationship. Isn't it? Lot of things you have studied about databases. So database, how the data are stored. So how the data are stored? So data are stored in the form of tables. Isn't it? Tables as rows and columns. So the tables, lot of details or lot of data are there. So you need to access the details from the table. So what do you mean by access? You need to get the details from the table. So for that, one programming language is required, isn't it? So in computer science, so each and everything, so if you need to create one new software or new games or anything, so you should know about some programming language, isn't it? So likewise, in database also, if you need to fetch some data from the tables or from the database, so you should use some languages. Okay, so here we are using which language means structured query language. Okay, so which language you are using? Structured query language. Simply we can say as SQL. Understand or not? What do you mean by SQL? Structured query language. Understand? Yes. So now we are going to study about introduction about this query language. Okay, so this query language is a most standard programming language. Okay, so which language is the most standard programming language? This structure, that means SQL. Okay, so what's the use of this SQL means? Mainly used to access the details from the database as well as manipulate database. What do you mean by manipulate? Managing. Okay, so all the details are there, so you need to manage all the details in the database, isn't it? So using this language you can able to access as well as manipulate the database. Okay, so using this language you can able to create new details. For example, so you consider your class details you are stored in a table called 12A. Okay, so 12A, if you need to create one more new detail, if you need to create or some new tables, okay, so for that this programming language will use which language? SQL. So you can able to create. Retrieve means nothing but access or fetch. Okay, alter, what do you mean by alter? Change. So unknowingly you are entering the names 2 times. Okay, for example roll number 10 you have entered unknowingly 2 times. Okay, so you need to change this or you need to change that name. The roll number 10 you need to change as 11. So that is alter. Then transfer. Transfer means from one table to next table you are transferring the information. Okay, or one database to another one database you are transferring the information. Okay, so this all the things are done by using which language? SQL, query language. Okay, so this all managing databases, accessing data or everything collectively we can say as relational database management system. Okay, so what do you mean by our school have separate management system, isn't it? So what's the use of management system? Our school management manage all the staffs, those who are working, isn't it? Likewise, so this RDBMS means relational database management system. So it will manage all the details in the database as well as query language. Okay, so this SQL, that is structured query language, here also many versions are there. Okay, so each and every programming language have versions, new versions will come for each and every year. Likewise, this SQL will also have many versions. Okay, so the original version of this SQL was developed by which company? Means IBM. So who developed this original version of this SQL? Important one more question. Who developed? IBM Research Center. Okay, so who developed the original version of this SQL? IBM Research Center. Okay, so first they have introduced this SQL language and they called the languages SQL. See the spelling? SEQEL. Okay, but now we are telling us SQ, capital letter SQL, but first they have designed and they called the name as SQUEL, SQL. Okay, so in which year they have introduced? Means in the year of 1970s. Understand which year they have introduced? 1970s. Important one more question. Okay, so then later, years go on, later they have changed the name SQL into SQL. Okay, understand? So later they have changed the name SQL into SQL. Okay, so next in the year of 1986, see when they have introduced 1970, but in the year of 1986, ANSI, what do you mean by ANSI? Important one more question. Okay, American National Standard Institute. Okay, so they have introduced a new version of SQL standard. Okay, so in which year? 1986, ANSI, that is American National Standard Institute, introduced a original version of SQL. They have updated the new version in the year 1992. Okay, so after that the latest version, now we are using one SQL, no, the latest version they have released in the year which year? 2008. Okay, so which is the latest version? Latest version of SQL is released in which year? 2008, and they have named that version as SQL 2008. Understand? So latest version is introduced in which year? 2008, and they have called the name as SQL 2008. Okay, but first original version was introduced by whom? IBM Research Center. So in which year? 1970. They called the name as SEQUL. But later they have changed the name as SQL, and in the year 1986, American National Standard Institute published a new version. Then 1992, they have updated the version and they have released a latest version in year 2008 and called the name as SQL 2008. So this is the introduction about SQL. Understand? Next. So next we are going to study about role of SQL in RDBMS. Okay, so what's the role of this query language in relational database management system? Understand? So what do you mean by RDBMS? RDBMS, relational database management system. Okay, so lot of examples they have given. So some examples they have given. See, Oracle, MySQL, MS SQL Server, IBM DB2, Microsoft Access, RDBMS. So this and all example for DBMS, database packages. Okay, that means softwares used for databases. So last year we have studied about C++ language, isn't it? So which software we are using for C++? Dev C++. Likewise, this database is also lot of packages. So normally we used to say it's a software, isn't it? So here the databases we used to say package. Okay, so these are the examples of some RDBMS packages. So what are the example? MySQL, MS SQL Server, IBM DB2 and Microsoft Access. Okay, so this and all database packages. So in this databases only, among these any one of the database you are installing in your system. Okay, then you need to store the details inside the database. Then you should access the details. So how you need to access the details? Using which language? Query language. Understand? So this and all DBMS packages. So DBMS packages you have installed in your system. So and also you have stored lot of informations in the tables in the DBMS packages. Now you need to access all the details from the DBMS. So you should use which language for access the details? SQL, structured query language. Understand? Yes. So normally already we have studied, we can say database is a collection of tables, isn't it? So all the data are stored in the form of tables in the databases. So they have given database is a collection of tables. So in the tables, what do you need to store? You need to store a lot of informations. Okay. So if you need to fetch the informations, means you need to query using SQL. Okay. Then database is there. Database data also you have inserted in table. So next who is needed? A management person. So your management person needs to manage all the things. Okay. For that, a database management system. Okay. For that, we are giving which management system? Database management system. Okay. This management system will administrate all the database platforms. What do you mean by administrate? Will manage us. Like your school, we have separate school administration, isn't it? So what's the use of school administration? Manages the workers working in, then manages students, everything, isn't it? Likewise, the database management system will manage or administrate the full database platforms. Okay. Next, so here the data you are storing in the form of tables. So table consists of rows as well as columns, isn't it? So here you need to store, or you need to enter the related details in the columns or rows, isn't it? So for that also you need to perform some operations. Already you have studied. So what are things you need to perform? You can able to create a new user or create a new student details. Or what are things? So read. You can able to read the information from the table. Update. So if any new things you need to add, means you need to update. So particular things if you need to delete, means you can delete. Okay. So listen carefully. So what are the functions? Or what are the functions are related to database? Listen. Create, read, update and delete. So these 4 operations collectively we are calling as an CRUD. Important 2-mark question. Okay. Understand what do you mean by CRUD? C for create, R for read, U for update and D for delete. So these operations collectively we are calling as an CRUD. Okay, what do you mean by CRUD then? So in RDBMS you have stored all the details in the form of tables. So tables, they consist of rows and columns, isn't it? So you have stored the data. If you need to access the details, so you need to write lot of functions related to the tables. What are the functions? Create, you can create, then read, update, delete. So this collectively we are calling as CRUD. Understand what you mean by CRUD? Yes. So here this is the important 2-mark question and this is the important 2-mark question as well as 1-mark question or DBMS packages. Understand? Yes. So already you have studied the data are stored in the form of objects or in the data in databases stored in the form of tables, isn't it? So table contains rows and columns. Already you have studied same thing only. So table is a collection of related things you have stored in the form of rows as well as columns. Okay. So if a column, you will store all the related informations in the column, isn't it? So what's the other name of column? Field. What's the other name of column? Field. Field is a column that is designed to related information. For example, if you are going to write your class details in a table, for example, roll number 1 column, then name, student name 1 column, then date of birth 1 column, address 1 column. So all the roll numbers, all the related roll numbers will come under column roll number. Whether you will write the roll number in the column of name? No, because the related roll number is related to the column roll number, name is related to the column name, isn't it? So all the related informations are recorded or inserted in the column. So that one we are calling as an what? Vertical entity. Understand? A row means, so the row contains, listen. Then understand what you mean by column? Column always you will store related details. Okay. For example, they have given, so in one column or one table they have taken giving administration number, student name, student age, student class and place. Okay. So this is the column. Administration number 1 column, student name 1 column, student age 1 column, student class. So each and everything we are calling as a field. What's the other name for column? Field. So how many number of fields are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Administration number is a 1 field, student name is another 1 field, student age is another 1 field, student class is another 1 field, place is an. So all the administration number or related informations come under administration number column. All the student names will come under student name column. Understand? Yes. That is a field and or column. Next is a record or row. Okay, so what's the other name of row? Record. Okay, so here you will write a collection of fields exists in the table, that is a horizontal entity. So row always you will write like this, isn't it? Column always you will write like this. Row means this one. That means it will give information about a particular thing. For example, if we are taking a one row, first row means first roll number, then first student name, age, then that it will give the information about roll number 1. Second row if you take means it will give the information about second roll number. But column is not like that. So if you take column student name means you can get all the student names, or that's the column field. But row means you will get the one student information. First means first student, second row means second student information. Understand the difference between row and column? So what's other name for column? Field. What's other name for row? Record. Understand? Yes. So next question. So the next thing is processing skills of SQL. Okay. So in SQL there are various processing skills are there. Okay. So various, what are the processing skills mean? First one is DDL. What's the first processing skill? DDL, that is data definition language. So what's the full form of DDL? Very very important questions this and all. What is DDL? Data definition language. Okay. So name itself having definitions. So what's the meaning of definitions? So what's the meaning of definition? So in a 2 mark question we will ask now, define what do you mean by subroutine, or define subroutine. What do you mean by, what's the use of definition? So definition will give what's the meaning of the term, or what is that, isn't it, like that. So here first thing is data definition language. Okay, so in this language, so data definition language will give define. So what are the things you are going to do, only it will define what is that one. So that's the use of data definition language. Understand? So what are the operations you have studied already? C or UD. What are they? Create, delete, update, isn't it? Insert. So all the details are come under. Yes, what's the use of definition? So what's the use of definition? Definition will give define, or what's the meaning of that one. So likewise, the first data definition language will give the definitions. What are things you are going to do? Okay, what are the things you are going to do in the tables? Okay, what are the operations you will do? You can able to insert the new details, you can able to delete the details, you can able to create, you can able to modify. So all the things you can, or all the functions, or all the operations you are doing. So all these things it will define. That is called which, under that, and will come under which language? Data definition language. Okay. So what do you mean? What's the other name for table? What's the other name for table? So table other name is relations. Okay. So here they are giving deleting relations, creating indexes, and modifying relation. So what's the other name for table? Relations. Okay. So you can able to delete the deleting relations. What do you mean by deleting relations? You can able to delete the table, creating indexes. What's the use of index? Just like a roll number, index number. Modifying relation, you can able to modify. So all the details, what are the things, or what are the functions you are doing, all the definitions will come under which language? Data definition language. Okay, so only you are defining these are the things you are going to do. So that will come under data definition language. Next thing is, second is DML. This and all important 1 mark questions they will ask for the expansion of what do you mean by DDL and what do you mean by DML. Okay, yes, what's the second thing? DML, data manipulation language. Okay, so here you are going to, normally in programming language we used to study. So how you will write the program? Program you used to write as a comments, isn't it? For example, last year we have studied in C++ program. What's the format? First you will write header file, then functions, data declarations, isn't it? So likewise here you are going to write as a comments. So SQL, that means queries or comments. Okay. So data manipulation language. So here you are going to give in the form of queries, isn't it? So queries, what are the queries you are going to write means? So queries are giving in the form of comments. Okay. So SQL queries you are going to give in the form of which one? Comments. Okay. So what are the queries you are going to give means? Insert, delete and modify. Okay. So what's the use of insert query? You can able to insert new details in the table. What's the use of delete query? So you can able to delete particular information from the table. Modify means you can able to modify the detail. So all the things you are going to give in the form of queries or comments. So that will come, that is queries or comments will come under which one? Data manipulation language. But DDL only definitions. What's the use of that one? That's alone. So you are going to define the thing. What do you mean by insert? What do you mean by update? That's all. But DML, you are going to give a things. What are the things already you have defined? All the things you are going to give in the form of comments. Understand the difference between DDL and DML? Yes. Next one is embedded data manipulation language. Okay. So this kind of language is a very high level programming languages. Okay, compared to DDL and DML. So this embedded DML, EDML. Okay, so this is very high level programming languages. Okay, so next one, fourth one is view definition. Okay, so what's the meaning of view definition means? Here you are going to defining so views of tables. Okay, you are going to view the tables. So data are stored in the form of tables, isn't it? So now you are going to, already you have defined the data. It's a default other things you are going to do. That and all you have defined in DDL, isn't it? So now you are going to defining the views. You are going to view the definitions. So that will come under which one? For that also you are going to write a query or queries in the form of comments. So that will come under which one? View definition. What's the meaning of view definition? You are already have defined many things. You are going to view all the details of tables. Understand? The fifth one is authorization. So what do you mean by authorization? So what's the use of passwords you are giving in your mobile? What's the use of passwords? So it is one of the security technique, isn't it? So passwords if you are giving means only who is the owner of the person, that person alone will open the mobile. That person can use the mobile phone. Third person will not able to access the details, isn't it? So likewise, you are defining a databases. So authorization means first defining the database itself, you are giving access permission. Who have the access rights to access the database? For example, our Bethlehem school has separate databases. So they will give some security technique or passwords. So they Bethlehem database will have the access rights to only the Bethlehem persons or admin. Only the Bethlehem persons will have the access rights to access the Bethlehem database. Whether the other school persons have rights to access? No. So that is called authorization. So who has the ability to access the database? Understand? So next one is integrity. Okay. So integrity means you will give lot of details. So you need to check all the details using some conditions. Okay. Based on the conditions, these details are there or not. That's come under integrity. Okay. Seventh one is transaction control. Okay. So transaction. What's the meaning of transaction? So normally you used to hear the word transaction, isn't it? So transaction of money from one account to next account. So what's the meaning of transaction? So transferring money from one account to another. Here transaction means you are going to transfer the file transaction. That means transferring contents or information from one table to another table or one database to another database. So that and all controlled by whom? Transaction control. So understand? So what are things you have studied here? In processing skills of SQL? DDL. What do you mean by DDL? Data definition language. In DDL only you are going to define what are things you are going to do. Then DML. So you are giving what are the defining things you are going to give us a comments using SQL. Embedded means it is a very high level programming language. Then view definition means already what are things you have defined. You are going to view the details. Isn't it? So next one is authorization. Authorization means who have the access rights to who have the rights to access the database. Integrity means using the based on the conditions the particular details are there or not. Okay. Transaction control means transferring of information from one database to next one. Understand? Very very important question. Processing skills of SQL. Understand? So this one is very 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 important. So the same thing you are going to do in the practical also. So that time I ask question you should say the answer. Okay. So next. So till now you have studied about database, creation of database, everything, isn't it? So this is theory you have studied. Now you are going to study about comments. So always you should write in the form of comments in SQL, isn't it? Now we are going to study about comments in SQL. First thing you need to create a database. For example, in your mobile phones, you are going to store lot of photos. First, what you will do? So, in the gallery, you will create one new folder. Isn't it? So, inside the folder, you will store all the photos. Isn't it? Likewise, first of all, you should create a new database. Okay, so what's the syntax for creation of new database? Means listen carefully. So this is very, very important. So practical also the same thing is there. If you miss any one space or comma or semicolon means you won't get the output. Understand? So listen carefully. So what's the syntax for creation of database? Create. So you should write the comments in the form of capital letters. Okay. So create database name semicolon. Okay. So what's the syntax for creation of database? One time say create database name semicolon. Okay. So here you should give the name of the database. So what name you are giving, that name will be visible as the database name. Understand? So this is a syntax. Next example they have given. So see create database. They have creating database. What's the database name here? STUD. Okay. So they have created a student database. Okay. So what database now you have created? STUD. Now you need to use the database. Okay. Each and everything already you have studied in SQL. Each and everything you should write in the form of queries as comments. So first thing you have created a database. Next thing you are going to use the database. Okay. For using the database. So what this is the syntax for using the database. Okay. Use database semicolon. Okay. Use database semicolon. So see this example. What's the database name here? So already you have created database. What's the database name? STUD. So use in the place of database you need to give your database name STUD. So now you can able to work with your databases. Understand? So two comments you have studied. What are they? Creation of database as well as use database. So create, what's the syntax for creation of database? Create database name. So what's the database name here? STUD. Next, you need to work in the database means you should give the command as use database. So use database name is STUD. Understand? Yes. So next thing is components of SQL. So in processing skills you have studied two languages, isn't it? So but here in components of SQL is divided into 5 categories. Okay. So components of SQL is divided into how many categories? 5 categories. Okay. Very, very important question. Okay. So first one is DML. What do you mean by DML? Data manipulation language. What is DML? Data manipulation language. Next one is DDL. Data definition language. This and all important one more questions. Okay. Abbreviations and all very, very important. Then DCL. Data control language. Okay. TCL means transaction control language. DQL. Data query language. Understand? So components of SQL divided into how many categories? 5 categories. What are they? DML, DDL, TCL, DQL. Okay. What do you mean by DML? Data manipulation language. DDL, data definition language. DCL, data control language. TCL, transaction control language. DQL, data query language. Understand? So now we are going to study each and every languages in detail. Okay. So already you have studied about, just give the introduction about, I gave the introduction about DDL, isn't it? So what's the use of DDL? Name itself having data definition language. So here in this language, the SQL statements used to define the database structure. Only the definitions are there. Okay, so what you are going to do, so all the definitions all come under which language? Data definition. Okay, so just it will give the description of the things. What do you mean by description? Detailed explanation. For example, last year study, what's the syntax for creation of database? Create database name. So in DDL, it will give the definition. What's the meaning of a creation of database? So it will give the definition. Create database is used to create the new database name. Understand? Likewise, it will give the descriptions of the database schema. Okay, what are the things? For example, you are going to insert the details. So it will give the description about insert. So you are going to update the details. So it will give the information about update. You are going to delete the detail. So it will give the definitions about delete. Okay. So what are the things or what are the structures you are using in the structures, methods, commands? What are things you are using? All the definitions will come under the language DDL. Understand? So what are the functions are performed by DDL? Okay. So what are the functions is performed by DDL? Okay. First it will, listen, first point. So it will identify data division. Okay. So it will identify data division. Data division means nothing but, so it will identify each rows as well as columns. Okay. So for example, first thing they are giving data item. So it is belongs, for example, roll number means it will belong to number. Data item. Then segment. That means how many number of details are there. How many segments. Segments means 2 tables or 3 tables or 4 tables or 5 tables. Then record and database file. Record means one table is a one record. Second table is a second record. That means one row as a one record. Okay. So already as a rows are otherwise called record. How many records? 5 rows means 5 record. Then full table we are calling as a database file. Full database we are calling as a database file. Okay. So what's the first function? It will identify the data division. What are the divisions? Belongs to which data item? Segment, record and database file. Okay. Then it is used to, it will give unique name to each data item. Okay. Unique name. That means roll number. Then address. Then student name. Place. Everything. So it will give unique name to each data item. Okay. Then record type. Type means nothing but roll number is belong to number. Name is belong to character. Okay. That's all. That is file type or record type. Okay. So next, it should specify proper data type. Same thing only. Proper data type means what are the data types you have studied? Integer, float. Yes, that it is belongs to which data type. Next, it should define size of data item. Size means, for example, you are going to enter 5 student details. So what's the size of data item? 5. Understand? Next, it may define range of values. So how many? For example, you are going to enter 100 student details. So what's the range now? 100 between 1 to 100. Okay. So it will specify range of values. Next. Then it means privacy logs for preventing. So and also you are, for example, you are going to enter your class details. So and also you are giving passwords for them. Why means by your class details can able to access only by your class students, not by other class students. For that you are providing some passwords. Understand? So what are the operations are performed by DDL? First it will identify data divisions. What are the data divisions? Data item, segment, record, database, file. Next, it will give unique name for each data item. That means this field belongs to which data type. Likewise. Okay. Next, it will identify proper data type. Next, it will identify what's the size of the data item. Next, it will identify range of values. You are going to insert within which range of values. Third, next one is it will give privacy logs for each thing. Understand? So this is the comments come under data definitions. Understand? So you are going to study lot of DDL, DML, TCL. Don't get confused. So compare it and study. Always DDL means only it will give the definitions. So listen, what are the comments? What are the comments? So each and every comments are very, very important because comments will differ for each languages. Understand? So what are the comments will come under DDL? Create, alter, drop and truncate. What are the things? Create, alter, drop and truncate. Okay. So DDL means only it will give the definitions. So what's the meaning of create? To create tables in database. Understand now? So here they are giving create means to create tables in database. Alter means, so alters the structure of database. Alter means changing, modification. Drop means delete. So delete tables from database. Truncate, remove all records from database and also release occupied those records. That means if you are giving the truncate command mean, for example, in a mobile phone one folder is there. Okay, so you have deleted the folder. Okay, so the folder is deleted from your gallery, but the same thing if you have seen means, say you have seen it recently deleted. Isn't it or not? Have you all seen? If you delete some folders or photos means from the gallery it will get deleted, but the same thing will store in recently deleted. Likewise, truncate means it will remove the record from the table, but the space occupied by the table is remaining there. Understand? So what are the commands will come under DDL? Create, alter, drop and truncate. What's the meaning of create? So to create tables in the database, alter means alter the structure, drop means delete, truncate means remove the record but space will be there. Understand? Next language we are going to study about DML. Okay, what's the meaning by DML? Data manipulation language. So here what are the operations you are doing means adding. Adding means inserting new details. Removing or deleting or modifying. 3 functions you are going to do in DML. What are they? Inserting, deleting and updating. Okay. So here you are going to manipulate the details. What do you mean by manipulate? So you are going to make changes in the data. But you are not going to change the database details. Listen carefully. You are not going to change. For example, you are entering the details for 11th class student. First you are enter the quartile exam mark. Second time you are entering half-yearly exam mark. So second time you are entering half-yearly exam mark. Whether you will delete all the entire table, whether it is needed? No. Only you need to delete the marks. Whether you need to delete the names of 11th, 12th students? No. Why? The names and all come same for the full year, isn't it? So, likewise, if you are doing any modifications, the schema you are not going to modify. Only which details you are going to enter, that only you are going to modify. Okay. So, each and everything will have separate procedures. So, modifications also have separate procedures. So, each things are expressed using which language? DML. Understand? So, see. So, here DML, what are the operations functions you are going to do? Insert, retrieval, delete and modification. Okay. So what's the meaning of insert? You are going to insert a new information into the database. Or you are going to insert new details into the database. Retrieval. You are retrieving or accessing the information from the table. Deletion. You are going to delete the information from the database or table. Modification. You are going to modify the information. Understand? So this DML is divided into 2 types. Okay, DML is divided into how many types? 2 types. What are they? Procedural DML and non-procedural DML. Very, very important question. So DML is divided into how many types? 2 types. What are they? Procedural DML as well as non-procedural DML. Okay, procedural DML means, okay, so it will define what data you need to get and how you need to get it. Okay. For example, so you are coming for admission in Bethlahem school. Okay. After completion of your 10th standard, just remind 10th standard you are coming for admission and the 11th standard admission in Bethlahem school. So before you are getting the admission, you have this particular idea about 11th standard, isn't it? So which section I need to choose. Okay. So based on your decision, you need to choose, isn't it? So first you should decide which group I need to select. Likewise, procedural means, so here it will specify which data is needed and how you need to get it. So you are going to decide with this group I need to select. So after you have decided, the management will give, if you are eligible means they will give the seat for you. Likewise, which data you are going to access, first you need to decide which one and how you need to get the data, that is procedural. Okay, so non-procedural means, okay, so you are not bothering about how you are getting. For example, same admission details you take. So you have good marks. So you no need to bother about whether the seat will get or not. But if you have low marks means you need to bother whether we can get the seat or not. But if you have good marks means surely you can, I will get the seat. That's a non-procedural. So here what data is needed, that only you need to specify. But without how you need to get that details and all, no need to specify. Understand? So DML, 2 types of DML is there. What are they? Procedural DML as well as non-procedural DML. Understand? So these are the commands will come under DML. How many commands? Insert, update and delete. So for this only, first itself I said each and every language the commands will get differ. So Study the comments clearly. Okay, how many comments will come under DML? 2. What are the insert, update and delete? So what's the use of insert? Insert data into the table. So what's the use of update? Update the existing data in table. What do you mean by existing? Already lot of details are there. From the details again you are going to update some detail. For example, you have entered some name. So unknowingly you have entered some spelling mistake in the name. So you should update the detail. So already existing detail is there, but you are changing your name, the spelling alone. Okay, that is update. Delete. Delete means you can able to delete all the details. But space also, but if you are deleting the only the details in the table, but spaces you are not going to delete, space will be there. Understand? Okay, so today enough to, so what are things you have studied today? So what do you mean by SQL? Processing skills of SQL. Then components of SQL, 2 things, DML and DQL. Okay, so the DDL and DML, very very important things. After completion of this session, processing skills of SQL, DDL and DML. So you should study thorough. Very very important questions. So remaining we can continue in the next class. Okay, thank you students.